the smaller community that we managed to gather, because I think we have a nice vibe when we get together and play some games. I think at least I have fun with the 2 times that or more that we get together to play some games. That's probably what I enjoy the most.
I'm a recently new member, so there's not much yet. But Division and TAW in general, just how easy it is to get a bunch of people in a VC and just play games. Like there is no much conflict, and it's quite easy just to get people to play with and talk about it. Also, giving each other tips on how to improve within the games.
The most I like about TAW is definitely the ability to interact with people across the world. It makes it so seamless just to know the lives of people you've never met, you'll likely never meet, and you suddenly have this opportunity to speak to different people, learn different things. I find that amazing.
Well, from the Arma division, I remember just the first few ops trying to learn Arma 3 with the people that I've become really close with now on the Arma 3 side, and how they really made me stay there, play Arma for like a year straight, 2 times a week, almost like a part-time job, and I really enjoy that.
My first memory that I have in my head of it is with the Helldivers. And that's because me and another dude were kind of walking around in a team of 4. And he was a massive gas fanatic and I was a napalm fanatic. So we just kind of just made entire areas unapproachable because there was just so much napalm and gas going all over it. And we just kept laughing about it.
For me, I don't think. Well, I've met some people or one person from TAW. That was really fun, meeting a friend from another country. Otherwise, it has been that I've made friends online and I guess helped develop my English skill for my English classes. More than that, I can't really say.
I think it was somewhere in the middle of the first year. A friend of mine needed help, or a friend in the division needed help with his school project or his university project. And I had completely forgotten about the classes I took in high school, but at his request, like a sleeper agent, I just knew everything. And now I'm included in someone's thesis that was published. So I think that's pretty cool.
What I would like to see from the division is just general growth and just us continuing having fun, playing the game and then chatting with each other, having fun. That's what I hope of the future with my division.
I would like to see Broken Arrow be an army, first of all, and see that it expands a lot more than what it currently is. I do hope for the success of the division and furthermore the success of the clan, but obviously a year from now we never know what's going to happen.
Maybe an update to the website would be nice. Sometimes it's a bit clunky to find your way around it.
In my opinion, it was needed for the game, keep it afloat, and in the future I hope they do not make it as DLCs you'll have to pay for, but they will probably do that. But if I would rate it out of 10, I would probably give that DLC a 7 out of 10, in my opinion, with what it brings to the game.
I feel it was a good addition to the game. Mainly because it introduced another side of warfare for the US and another thing to face for the Russian side. I am expecting the next DLCs to be paid because this one was also quite late edition in the game's lifetime up to now. But I think the next DLC is planned for the third quarter of this year. Which I'm also excited about, but that's also it also fits way more in the stereotypes of the US and Russian fiction game. But I am hopeful for future updates with like more European stuff, like that they kind of expand outside the scope of Russia versus the US.
The DLC, for me, it was a really lackluster DLC. I usually play a more aggressive playstyle with fast flanking maneuvers. With the new DLC, I just couldn't get that. So for me, it was very lackluster.
I like it. I think it brings some more variation to the game. Though I would maybe recommend that if they are able, maybe do so when a DLC is released. There's maybe instead of just one of the factions gets some both at the same time to bring some more variation. Because at the moment it feels like the NATO forces are a bit overpowered because they are able to specialize a lot more with the new faction. So maybe some more balance to the releases. So maybe both factions at once get units.
The Baltic has definitely brought player count up, but I definitely think that with some issues, constant issues that will be with the game like forever, with balancing, I am imagining that it will go down the same way as any other RTS game, where there's like at max 1,000 constant players. But internally with us, TAW, I think some of us, or I hope all of us, will be staying with the game and having some fun together.
Yeah, so the terms of the game, I think volatile for now is probably how I would say, because every small change has a massive impact on balance, on results, on tactics. So it's kind of is still in that early high oscillation state, is how I want to phrase it. But it's also kind of solid in the position of RTS games, and that's because it does things so extremely differently than all the other RTSs that are currently like out there. So it has its own place, but it's also still as a game in RTS, it has a stable position, but the game itself is still on the highly volatile. Like if they make a relatively small mistake, it can still have massive consequences. Or they can have a sudden rise of success that can also quickly fall off again.
The game it's in a very, very difficult position at the very moment. They're losing players, and I don't think this DLC really helped them when it came to getting the player base back up. I do want to see it succeed. For that, I think they've got to actually get a bigger team and start working on getting more content out that's not DLC focused.
Like there's a lot of good things, as said earlier, though there are some core features that are missing. I really like this single player, but I can't save. So when the missions are like an hour long, it can be quite annoying. Or you can skip dialogue when you reload a mission. So when you're doing an achievement hunting, you have to listen to the same lines 35 times in a row. It can get a bit repetitive, so there are some core single player features that are missing. But other than that, I think it's a fun game that are doing a lot of good things that some of the other RTSs are missing out on.
I did kind of mention it before, but I think it will go down in the typical RTS game, where it goes to a stable amount of players, but that it's way lower than some other games. And yeah, I think it will be a eternal back and forth with game balancing and such.
Honestly, it's. I don't want to say too much. I think it has its place, and if the devs handle the game correctly, they can have an amazing success on the level of Wargame Red Dragon had. Because there's a lot, and I mean a lot of really good stuff in the game. It's just that they need to make sure that they take the right pace on taking or on zooming out of the current Baltic conflict they're in, and start expanding to maybe go to Romania, Ukraine, or to China and have that be the naval expansion or something. They need to look at it carefully. And I hope the devs, because it's still quite. People forget this. They're still not that big of a dev team. I think the current count is like 50 people or something. Like, it's still very much an indie dev, so they can't just go out and start adding bits really willy nilly like Ubisoft would be able to. They need to be really careful in planning out. That's also why I've been quite more forgiving in delays and updates and in features or small bugs and glitches that get through. It's as the dev team they have really achieved a massive amount of success you can't expect really. Yeah, I do think that this DLC has made a difference to the future of the game because it introduced a way of gameplay on the US side that was sorely missing. It brought also the people back who kind of got tired of the same rotation of units, because in the end it's still very much one group of units against another group of units, and now you have a third group of units kind of mixing with the other groups. So that's definitely a interesting way of looking at the factions and how to fight everything. If they keep that up, they have a really good game, a game success to wait on them.
For the future of the game, I definitely, and I'm going to be very biased here, I want to see more nations, specifically because I'm South African-based nations or African-based nations. I really want to see how they handle it and whether or not I can pry about whether it's good or it's bad or anything like that. Aside from that, I do want to see them expand their dev team first and also expand the nations, add more campaign levels, more story levels, make, I don't want to say achievements, that's going to be, it's a bit short-sighted, but I do want to see more content added that's not solely based on the whole stereotype of America versus Russia.
I think with an update that takes on some of the core missing features that are missing, and with like these new units that are being added, maps, etc. I think it has some good longevity. Like, you can see how far Wargame Red Dragon has survived. Maybe not as active now as it was beforehand, but it still have a pretty active community. And I think Broken Arrow can also submit itself as one of those games that has it for a really long time if they just pick up on the missing core features.